2 years ago, before the release of Back 4 Blood, I released a video titled Back 4 Blood might fail soon, just like last time. Let's have a little watch, shall we?
We want to keep adding to the game, working with the community to make the game better.
Because that's what keeps it thriving.
We're really looking at working on this for as many years as we possibly can.
This is the last frame they show of him here. He looks kinda doubtful, doesn't he? Ah? I mean, I would be lying if I told you I hate to say I told you so, because...
I'm not the kind of person to say I told her so, but you know what? I told her so. I told her so.
Back 4 Blood, the live service that was supposed to be the spiritual successor to Left 4 Dead, has ended its life cycle. 1 year after release, the game is Left 4 Dead. Upon release, I really didn't like Back 4 Blood that much. You might have seen my review, my opinions were clear. A year later, multiple updates later and expansions later, it is a fine game when viewed in a vacuum. The marketing constantly told us it is by the makers of Left 4 Dead, the spiritual successor of Left 4 Dead, so I will not back down from holding Back 4 Blood to the standard of Left 4 Dead. And viewed by the standard of Left 4 Dead, Back 4 Blood has a gigantic flaw that will ultimately lead to the game fizzling out. Currently, the player numbers are fine depending on the time of day you play it at. But in 1 or 2 years, who knows how that will be, and let's say in 5 years, when the game is not really played that often anymore by a large amount of people, well, Turtle Rock may be just shutting down the servers, and then good luck. There's no LAN mode, where you can play it offline, but playing it on LAN with a friend or just hosting your own server, that may become a difficult task, unlike in Left 4 Dead, where that is super easy. And that draws us to the next subject that makes this live service a bit lifeless.
Is Back 4 Blood gonna facilitate the modding community at all with the online element, or is it gonna purely be contained game files?
It's contained. We're at launch for sure. Yeah, we're not gonna have anything like that available then.
This statement sealed the game's fate. I don't know whose decision it was to not include modding into the game, but it is a real shame, because this would have turned this game into a live service run by the community, just like Left 4 Dead. I mean, Valve hasn't done anything with the game, no major updates in years, but still, the game is not lacking in new content. Constant community content keeps this game up and running, and the replayability value is high. Because, well, what do they have? The Versus campaign. The Versus campaign is absolutely fun to play with a large amount of friends. Back 4 Blood? Well, its multiplayer is fine for a few minutes. Okay, not minutes, but it's fine for a short while. But the Versus campaign of Left 4 Dead, in contrast, just creates a way larger replay value. You have the levels that you played so often in single player or in co-op, and then you play these same levels as the opposing force. You played as the good guy and now you take over the role of the bad guy. You ambush your friends and you become part of the environment, something yet you can't do as the humans. As the humans in Left 4 Dead, you have to have your head on a swivel constantly because the enemy, the zombies, strike from every direction. But now, as you are the zombies, well, you have freedom of movement. You can position yourself freely, choose the best angles and not worry about being attacked from, well, randomly spawning zombies. No, you are the death waiting around the corner. And that is something that Back 4 Blood just doesn't offer, and that is something a lot of people wanted. And I still had my hopes up that they one day would include this mode. Well, if they had modding, I'm pretty sure this could have been implemented by the community. You know, custom game modes? Well, in the past, in games with modding, this was a thing. And by God, it's not as if the basic concept of Left 4 Dead is some groundbreaking thing that only Turtle Rock Studios could have come up with. I mean, I invented Left 4 Dead. Yes, I did. You know, back in the day, friends and I playing Counter-Strike Source, just the two of us holding out against a large group of terrorists only armed with knives. This is how Left 4 Dead started. Terror Strike was essentially what a friend and I just played. We hunkered down in a corner on CS Office and waited for the zombies to come around the corner, and we mowed them down. Turtle Rock Studios just took this to the next level. I'm willing to bet money that my friend and I and Turtle Rock Studios are not the only inventor of Terror Strike or Left 4 Dead. But back to our live service. Over the course of the year, the game has gotten updates. 3 expansions, 2 of which story expansions and 1 Tunnels of Terror, which expand the levels with bonus levels. These hive nests, very interesting. I think someone watched Stranger Things. These add-ons introduced aspects of the game that elevated above the basic concept of Left 4 Dead. You have human opponents, a cult, interesting story, I would say. I would have hoped for more of this. This was actually fun, but now, well, the fun stuff is there and the service ended. It's unfortunate. Something I found pleasantly surprising about Back 4 Blood in the newest edition is the game changed a lot. Some things I criticized really changed. The card system got turned down massively, so the constant perk stacking during the game is gone, which improves the gameplay a lot, at least in my opinion. I didn't like the card system from the get-go. The new enemies they introduced, also very fun to play against, and this thing, wow, that's creepy. It looks like a monster from The Thing. I like it. And hey, there's a mission with a train, and I like trains. But that's almost it when it comes to improvements in the new additional campaigns. The environments are a bit more varied. You have this TV studio or this abandoned holiday resort. And especially the latter one is partially really lacking in presentation. Left 4 Dead came out about 15 years ago and it didn't look significantly worse than this. I mean, this action sequence here, yeah, that's basic. Really doesn't merit the Unreal Engine 4. Look at this water here. Even the 2004 version of Source can look better than this. I mean, you can use cheap water, but when you use the fancy water, it looks a lot better. And I'm sorry, I have to go back to this again. The lack of modding, that really ticks me off. Especially from a studio that has its roots in modding. I mean, god damn it, Left 4 Dead, the original, is in essence a mod. A year ago in my review I talked about modding in the original Left 4 Dead characters and how cool that would be. Well, here's again the reason for why they didn't include modding. They want to sell characters to you because they added a few new fancy funny skins. And Turtle Rock Studios absolutely knows what gamers want. Gamers want steampunk outfits. Alright, I'm gonna tell you what gamers actually want. Have you ever looked at the workshop for Left 4 Dead? Have you? I warn you. Gamers want this. You know what my favorite thing is? People with Hatsune Miku avatars telling me that I'm cringe for having my Fox avatar here. Yeah, tell me it's cringe and you hate it, and it's the most replayed part of the original review. When you're sitting in a glass house, you better go take a shit in the basement. And come on, that steampunk robot looks atrocious. I mean, steampunk is usually set in Victorian Britain. Yeah, Victorian robots. So my Victorian Fox is better. Oh, and in case you're wondering why I'm playing the campaign with bots only and not with actual players, well, even my friends that have this game, none of them could be bothered to play this. If you ask them if they wanna play Left 4 Dead on the other hand, well then people are lining up as if you're holding the key to Half-Life 3. Copying the Left 4 Dead formula is pretty easy. It doesn't take that much, so if you have the chance to play a cheap copy or the original, why not just go for the original? Unfortunately for Back 4 Blood, at the time when they started adding things that elevated above the just classic Left 4 Dead, I think it was already too late. Back 4 Blood has proven that just having a copy of Left 4 Dead with stuff added to it like gathering in-game currency and buying weapon attachments, that's just not enough to capture an audience long term. That is why a live service isn't really a good idea for such a game. And Back 4 Blood has company, it's not the only game on the market. World War Z Aftermath is still around, about the same player count as Back 4 Blood. Warhammer 40k Darktide came in with a massive bang and now settled in at about 6,000 players on PC. A decent player base, also a good horse to bet on for longevity. And I like Darktide a lot better than Back 4 Blood. Maybe I'm biased because I really like 40k and they did the atmosphere of that game really well. It's also visually pleasing to look at. I'd recommend you check out our review, link in the upper right corner. We went into full detail. It's a good game, check it out. Not for everyone, but decent. And in the race between Back 4 Blood and Darktide comes ahead on the pricing issue. Back 4 Blood is still, with all the add-ons, around 100 euros. And that's a lot. that's a whole lot. So if you really want to play Back 4 Blood, I would recommend checking out some key reseller sites, because there you can grab it for 20 bucks instead of 60 plus add-ons. And Jesus, the price is steep for a game which will not get any future content anymore. No, Back 4 Blood isn't dead yet. It has been left abandoned by the developer. And in its approaching death, Back 4 Blood has become what it always wanted to be. Now it is truly Left 4 Dead. Ironic, isn't it? I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, you know what I would like you to do. Give this video a like, consider subscribing for future content, and if you absolutely love what we do, why not support us on Patreon, as our supporters there got to see this video well before anyone else. Our wonderful supporters are Lone Wolf, Zat Gladys, Wrapped in Glass, Cookie, AX98, Thito, Rival556, Plasma, Tom, Rainbow Flash, Grizzly Bear, Strange Module, Cop Fighter, Inter, Chalcerit, Sir K, Ramgilama, Whiskey, Christoph, MTD, Leggy Boy, Daniel, Fralem, ChronyXS, Theovio, iMentrix, Arman, Oziloco, Rolling Rock, and Sidonai. A big thank you for your support. To them and everyone else, thanks for watching. Even if you don't like the anime stuff, the workshop still proves that Left 4 Dead is the better game. I mean, you can have this shit. Or this. That's actually kind of cool. And of course, bunch of furry stuff and damn, those are some big milkers. Auga. And you know, there's one way to prove that Back 4 Blood totally got cucked by Left 4 Dead. You can't mod Back 4 Blood, but you can mod Back 4 Blood into Left 4 Dead. See you guys next time. Until then, have a nice day, and as always, goodbye and guten Tag.